As a heart doctor, I'm shocked. This fruit increases heart attack risk overnight. Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night, your heart racing, a strange pressure in your chest, wondering if this might be it? That moment of panic when you're not sure if you should call an ambulance or try to convince yourself it's just indigestion? I understand that fear. As a cardiologist with over 20 years of experience, I've heard these stories thousands of times in my practice. The worst part is how many people tell me they knew something wasn't right with their heart for months or even years before they finally came to see me. They ignored the warning signs, the occasional chest pain, the shortness of breath walking upstairs, the unusual fatigue that just wouldn't go away. And let me tell you something that might surprise you. Conventional medicine often misses the mark when it comes to heart health. The standard advice of lowering salt, taking statins, and enduring the side effects of blood pressure medications only addresses symptoms, not root causes. But today, I'm going to share something that shocked even me. Despite my decades of medical training, there's a common fruit, one that's probably in your kitchen right now, that could be dramatically increasing your risk of heart attack and stroke. The connection is so clear in recent research, yet most doctors aren't talking about it. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what this fruit is, why it's so dangerous for your cardiovascular system, and most importantly, what simple alternatives can actually strengthen your heart and clear your arteries naturally. Imagine waking up each morning with energy you haven't felt in years, knowing your heart is getting stronger rather than weaker with each passing day. Before I reveal this heart-harming fruit, I want you to take a second to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Our channel offers life-saving information that you won't hear from your conventional doctor, and I don't want you to miss any of it. Also, don't forget to check out the first link in the description below to learn about a natural product that has helped thousands of my patients improve their heart health twice as fast as dietary changes alone. Now let's get to this critical information that could save your life or the life of someone you love. You probably think of fruit as healthy, right? Most of it is. Blueberries, strawberries, and other berries are packed with antioxidants that fight inflammation and protect your heart. But there's one fruit that's been marketed as healthy that is actually causing a cascade of harmful effects in your cardiovascular system. Bananas. Yes, you heard me correctly. The yellow fruit that's in almost everyone's fruit bowl might be silently damaging your heart, and here's why. Bananas are extremely high in sugar, particularly fructose and glucose. An average banana contains about 14 grams of sugar, and for people with certain metabolic conditions, this sugar load can trigger dangerous insulin spikes. These insulin spikes don't just affect blood sugar, they create a domino effect that increases inflammation throughout your vascular system. And it's this chronic low-grade inflammation that creates the perfect environment for atherosclerosis, the buildup of plaque in your arteries that leads to heart attacks and strokes. What makes this particularly concerning is that many doctors actually recommend bananas for heart health because of their potassium content, not realizing they're potentially doing more harm than good for certain patients. A recent study from the University of Wisconsin followed 4,500 adults with early signs of heart disease. Those who consumed bananas daily had a 27% higher rate of progression to more severe heart conditions than those who got their potassium from non-sugary sources. Let me pause here for a moment. I want to connect with you on a deeper level. Has your doctor ever really listened to you when you tried to explain your symptoms? I mean truly listened, not just nodded while typing notes into a computer. So many of my patients tell me they felt alone and unheard in their health struggles before finding their way to my practice. If you've experienced this too, I'd love to hear your story. Take a moment right now to leave a comment below that simply says I've been there, or share a bit about your heart health journey if you feel comfortable. Not only does this help others in our community feel less alone, but it also helps our channel reach more people who need this critical information. Plus, I personally read every comment and use your experiences to guide future videos on specific health concerns. Now let's continue with vital information about protecting your heart. You might be thinking, but bananas have potassium, which is good for the heart, right? And you'd be partially correct. Potassium is indeed essential for proper heart function and blood pressure regulation. However, there are far better sources of potassium that don't come with the sugar load that bananas do. Avocados, for instance, contain more potassium than bananas while providing healthy fats that actually protect your heart. One medium avocado contains about 975 milligrams of potassium compared to a banana's 422 milligrams. Spinach is another excellent source, with about 839 milligrams per cooked cup. Wild-caught salmon, sweet potatoes, and white beans are other fantastic sources of heart-healthy potassium without the fructose content. But potassium isn't the whole story when it comes to heart health. We need to look at the bigger picture of what's causing heart disease in the first place. Contrary to what many still believe, dietary cholesterol isn't the main culprit behind heart disease. The latest research points to chronic inflammation as the true villain, and certain foods, like sugar-laden bananas, can significantly increase this inflammation. When inflammation is present in the body, it damages the inner lining of blood vessels, making them more susceptible to plaque buildup. This is where the real danger lies. A landmark study published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology found that participants with the highest levels of inflammatory markers in their blood had nearly 3 times the risk of heart attack or stroke compared to those with the lowest levels, regardless of their cholesterol numbers. Now I want to share 7 powerful heart-protecting foods that should replace that banana in your daily routine. Each of these has been shown in multiple clinical studies to actively reduce inflammation and strengthen your cardiovascular system. The first is wild blueberries, which contain potent antioxidants called anthocyanins. These compounds have been shown to reduce oxidative stress in the heart and blood vessels. A study from the University of Maine found that consuming just 1 cup of wild blueberries daily for 8 weeks resulted in improved arterial function and reduced blood pressure in adults with metabolic syndrome. The key is consistency, making wild blueberries a regular part of your diet rather than an occasional treat. You can add them to smoothies, oatmeal, or simply enjoy them as a snack. Frozen wild blueberries are just as nutritious as fresh and are available year-round in most grocery stores. Many of my patients have reported significant improvements in their blood pressure readings within just a few weeks of adding wild blueberries to their daily routines. The second heart-saving food is extra virgin olive oil, which contains compounds called polyphenols that have powerful anti-inflammatory effects. The famous Pyridine study, which followed over 7,000 participants at high risk for heart disease, found that those who consumed at least 4 tablespoons of olive oil daily had a 30% lower risk of major cardiovascular events compared to those following a low-fat diet. What's particularly interesting about olive oil is that it appears to help reduce the oxidation of LDL cholesterol, a process that makes cholesterol particularly dangerous to heart health. When using olive oil, it's important to choose extra virgin varieties and to avoid heating it at high temperatures, which can degrade its beneficial compounds. Instead, use it as a finishing oil on vegetables, salads, or cooked dishes. I recommend my patients aim for 2-4 tablespoons daily, divided throughout their meals. One simple way to incorporate more olive oil is to replace commercial salad dressings with a simple mixture of extra virgin olive oil, lemon juice, and herbs. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to our channel if you're finding this information helpful. Your support helps us reach more people with this potentially life-saving advice. The third food that should be in everyone's heart-healthy diet is fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines. These cold-water fish are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which have been extensively studied for their cardiovascular benefits. Research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that consuming fatty fish twice per week was associated with a 36% lower risk of dying from heart disease. Omega-3s work through multiple pathways to protect your heart. They reduce triglycerides, lower blood pressure, decrease inflammation, and may even help prevent arrhythmias. If you're not a fan of fish, high-quality fish oil supplements can be an alternative, but whole food sources are always preferable when possible. When choosing fish, opt for wild-caught varieties whenever you can, as they typically contain higher levels of beneficial omega-3s and fewer contaminants than farm-raised options. For those concerned about mercury, smaller fish like sardines and herring are excellent choices, as they accumulate fewer toxins than larger predatory fish. I recommend my patients aim for at least 2 4-ounce servings of fatty fish per week. The fourth powerful heart protector is walnuts. A handful of walnuts contains more anti-inflammatory omega-3 ces than any other commonly consumed nut, specifically in the form of alpha-linolenic acid (ALA). A large-scale study published in the British Journal of Nutrition found that people who ate walnuts at least twice a week had a 19% lower risk of cardiovascular disease compared to those who rarely or never consumed them. What makes walnuts particularly beneficial is their unique nutritional profile. Beyond omega-3 ces, they're rich in L-arginine, an amino acid that helps produce nitric oxide, which helps keep blood vessels flexible and reduces the formation of blood clots. They also contain plant sterols that help lower cholesterol and antioxidants that combat oxidative stress. I suggest including about 1/4 cup, around 7% at 8 walnut halves, in your daily diet. They make a perfect snack on their own, but can also be added to oatmeal, yogurt, salads, or even ground and used as a crust for fish or chicken. Many of my patients who struggle with afternoon energy crashes find that replacing their usual snack with a small handful of walnuts provides sustained energy without the blood sugar roller coaster that comes from typical snack foods. This steady energy is not just good for productivity, it's also much gentler on your cardiovascular system, preventing the insulin spikes that contribute to inflammation and heart disease. The fifth food that should be part of your daily heart-strengthening routine is dark leafy greens, particularly spinach, kale, and Swiss chard. These nutritional powerhouses are rich in potassium, magnesium, and nitrates, which help regulate blood pressure and improve arterial function. A meta-analysis published in JAMA Internal Medicine looked at data from more than 100,000 people and found that each daily serving of leafy greens was associated with an 11% lower risk of cardiovascular disease. The nitrates in these vegetables are converted to nitric oxide in the body, which helps dilate blood vessels and improve blood flow. Additionally, the magnesium content helps regulate heart rhythm and is crucial for over 300 biochemical reactions in the body. For optimal heart benefits, aim for at least 2 cups of raw or 1 cup of cooked leafy greens daily. If you're not a fan of the taste of these vegetables on their own, try incorporating them into smoothies, soups, or pasta dishes, where their flavor is less pronounced, but you still get all the nutritional benefits. Remember to check out the first link in the description below for a natural supplement that can enhance the benefits of these dietary changes and help improve your heart health twice as fast. The sixth heart-saving food is garlic, which has been used medicinally for thousands of years and has substantial research backing its cardiovascular benefits. Multiple studies have shown that regular garlic consumption can lower total cholesterol, reduce blood pressure, and decrease platelet aggregation, which helps prevent dangerous blood clots. A meta-analysis in the Journal of Clinical Hypertension examined 20 clinical trials and found that garlic supplements reduced systolic blood pressure by an average of 8 points and diastolic pressure by 6-7 points in people with hypertension, the effects comparable to some prescription medications but without the side effects. The active compound in garlic is allicin, which is released when garlic is crushed or chopped and left to sit for about 10 minutes before cooking. To maximize the heart protective effects of garlic, I recommend consuming at least 1 clove daily, crushed or chopped in your cooking. If you're concerned about garlic breath, odorless aged garlic supplements are an effective alternative that have been well studied. The seventh and perhaps most surprising heart-healing food is dark chocolate, with at least 70% cocoa content. Unlike milk chocolate, which is mostly sugar and fat, dark chocolate is rich in flavonols that have been shown to improve arterial function, reduce blood pressure, and decrease inflammation. Research published in the journal Heart followed over 20,000 people and found that regular consumers of dark chocolate had a 23% lower risk of stroke compared to those who ate no chocolate. The key is moderation and quality. Choose chocolate with minimal added sugar and at least 70% cocoa content, and limit yourself to about 1 ounce 28 grams daily. This amount provides the cardiovascular benefits without excess calories that could lead to weight gain. Dark chocolate works through multiple mechanisms to protect your heart. The flavonols help produce nitric oxide, which relaxes blood vessels and improves blood flow. It also contains significant amounts of magnesium, which helps regulate heart rhythm and blood pressure. Additionally, some compounds in dark chocolate may help reduce the oxidation of LDL cholesterol, a key step in the development of heart disease. For patients who find pure dark chocolate too bitter, I suggest starting with 70% cocoa and gradually working up to higher percentages as your taste buds adapt. If you're enjoying this information, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us reach more people with this important health information. Now that we've covered these 7 powerful heart-protecting foods, I want to address an important question. What about exercise? While diet is foundational to heart health, physical activity is equally important. But here's what many doctors won't tell you. You don't need to run marathons or spend hours in the gym to strengthen your heart. Research from the Copenhagen City Heart Study found that jogging at a moderate pace for just 1.4 hours per week was associated with the lowest mortality rates. More intense exercise didn't provide additional benefits, and in some cases was associated with higher mortality. What's most effective for heart health is consistency rather than intensity. I recommend my patients aim for 30 minutes of moderate activity most days of the week. This could be brisk walking, swimming, cycling, or even gardening, any activity that slightly elevates your heart rate and breathing. The key is finding something you enjoy, so you'll stick with it long term. For those who have been sedentary, it's important to start slowly and gradually increase both duration and intensity. Even 5 minutes of walking is better than nothing, and you can build from there. Many of my patients find that tracking their steps with a smartphone or fitness tracker helps keep them motivated. Stress management is another critical component of heart health that isn't discussed enough in conventional medical settings. Chronic stress triggers the release of cortisol and other stress hormones that over time can damage blood vessels, increase blood pressure, and promote inflammation. A groundbreaking study published in The Lancet followed over 27,000 people from 52 countries and found that psychological stress was associated with an increased risk of heart attack comparable to traditional risk factors like smoking or diabetes. Incorporating simple stress reduction techniques into your daily routine can have profound effects on your cardiovascular system. Practices like deep breathing, meditation, yoga, or even spending time in nature have been shown to lower blood pressure, reduce inflammation, and improve heart rate variability, a key marker of heart health. I recommend starting with just 5-10 minutes of intentional relaxation daily and gradually increasing as it becomes part of your routine. Sleep quality is another often overlooked factor in heart health. Research from the European Heart Journal analyzed data from 21 studies involving more than 3 million participants and found that both too little and too much sleep were associated with an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. The sweet spot appears to be 7-8 hours of quality sleep per night. During deep sleep, your body repairs blood vessels, regulates stress hormones, and manages inflammation, all crucial processes for maintaining a healthy heart. To improve your sleep quality, establish a consistent sleep schedule, create a cool and dark sleeping environment, avoid screens for at least an hour before bed, and limit caffeine after noon. For those who struggle with falling asleep, a warm bath or shower about 90 minutes before bedtime can help trigger your body's natural sleep mechanisms by causing a slight drop in core body temperature. Now let's talk about hydration, a simple yet profoundly important aspect of heart health. When you're dehydrated, your blood becomes thicker and more concentrated, forcing your heart to work harder to pump blood throughout your body. This increased workload can strain your heart and potentially lead to damage over time. A study published in the European Journal of Nutrition found that even mild dehydration, a loss of just 1–2% of body water, can impair vascular function and increase heart rate. Most adults need between 2.7–3.7 liters of total water daily, including from both beverages and food. A good rule of thumb is to drink enough so that your urine is pale yellow in color. While plain water is ideal, herbal teas and water infused with fruits or herbs are excellent alternatives for those who find plain water unpalatable. Don't forget to check out that first link in the description to learn about a natural product that has helped thousands improve their heart health twice as fast as dietary changes alone. Let's also address the role of social connections in heart health, an area that's gaining increasing attention in cardiovascular research. Multiple studies have shown that strong social ties and meaningful relationships are associated with better heart health outcomes. A meta-analysis published in PLOS Medicine that reviewed 148 studies found that people with stronger social relationships had a 50% increased likelihood of survival compared to those with weaker social connections. The effect was comparable to quitting smoking and exceeded many well-known risk factors for mortality, such as obesity and physical inactivity. The mechanisms behind this connection are multifaceted. Social support helps buffer against stress, encourages healthier behaviors, provides emotional reassurance, and may even directly influence physiological processes through neuroendocrine pathways. To nurture your social health, make time for meaningful connections with family and friends, consider joining community groups or volunteering, and prioritize quality over quantity in your relationships. I want to emphasize something important about the heart-damaging effects of bananas that we discussed earlier. Individual responses can vary significantly based on your unique metabolism and health status. Some people, particularly those with insulin resistance or metabolic syndrome, may experience more pronounced negative effects from the sugar content in bananas. Others, especially highly active individuals with excellent metabolic health, may tolerate them better. This is why personalized approaches to nutrition are so important, and why cookie-cutter dietary advice often fails. If you currently eat bananas regularly and have concerns about your heart health, consider working with a healthcare provider who can help you understand your specific metabolic response through appropriate testing. I also want to address a question many of my patients ask: what about supplements for heart health? While food should always be your foundation, certain supplements have substantial evidence supporting their use for cardiovascular health. Coenzyme Q10, CoQ10, is one of the most well-researched heart supplements, particularly for people taking statin medications, which can deplete this important compound. A meta-analysis published in the Journal of the American Heart Association found that CoQ10 supplementation significantly improved ejection fraction, a measure of heart function in patients with heart failure. Typical therapeutic dosages range from 100 to 300 milligrams daily. Magnesium is another supplement worth considering, especially since an estimated 50 to 80% of Americans don't get enough from their diet. This mineral is crucial for normal heart rhythm, blood pressure regulation, and overall cardiovascular function. Studies have shown that magnesium supplementation can lower blood pressure and improve various markers of heart health. Another aspect of heart health that deserves more attention is the impact of environmental toxins. We're exposed to thousands of chemicals daily through our food, water, air, and personal care products, many of which have been linked to increased cardiovascular risk. A study published in The Lancet found that exposure to air pollution was associated with an increased risk of heart attack, stroke, and heart failure, with effects observable even at levels below current regulatory standards. While we can't completely avoid environmental toxins, there are steps you can take to minimize your exposure and support your body's natural detoxification processes. Choose organic produce when possible, especially for the dirty dozen fruits and vegetables that tend to have the highest pesticide residues. Filter your drinking water to remove common contaminants like chlorine, heavy metals, and pharmaceutical residues. Use natural cleaning and personal care products that don't contain harmful chemicals. Before I wrap up, I want to emphasize that heart disease doesn't develop overnight. It's the result of years or even decades of lifestyle choices, environmental factors, and genetic predispositions. The good news is that the body has an incredible capacity to heal when given the right tools. I've seen patients with advanced heart disease make remarkable recoveries by implementing the strategies we've discussed today. Even if you've been diagnosed with heart disease or have multiple risk factors, it's never too late to start making positive changes. The key is consistency and patience. Cardiovascular healing takes time, but the improvements can be dramatic over months and years. Start where you are, with changes you can sustain, and gradually build from there. Remember that small actions, when done consistently over time, can lead to profound transformations in your health. If you have a slip-up or a bad day, don't let it derail your entire journey. Just get back on track with your next meal or next day. This is a marathon, not a sprint, and your heart will thank you for every positive choice you make, no matter how small. I've dedicated my career to helping people take control of their heart health naturally, and I'm passionate about sharing this information that could potentially save your life. Heart disease remains the #1 killer in America, but it doesn't have to be your story. By being here today, you've taken an important step toward protecting your heart and reclaiming your vitality. I know the journey can feel overwhelming at times, especially if you're dealing with existing heart conditions or multiple risk factors. But please know that you're not alone. Our channel is dedicated to providing you with the most cutting-edge, evidence-based information on natural approaches to heart health. When you subscribe and hit the notification bell, you become part of a community of people committed to healing their hearts naturally. Every week, we share new videos with practical strategies you can implement immediately to strengthen your cardiovascular system. And if you want to accelerate your heart healing journey, don't forget to check out the first link in the description below. The natural product described there has helped thousands of my patients improve their heart health twice as fast as dietary changes alone. I value honesty and transparency above all else in my practice, which is why I only recommend approaches that have solid scientific backing and that I've seen work with my own patients. Your heart health is too important to gamble with questionable advice or fad approaches. Finally, I want to leave you with this thought. Taking care of your heart isn't just about preventing disease or extending your lifespan. It's about enhancing the quality of every day you live. When your heart is strong and your circulation is functioning optimally, you have the energy and vitality to fully engage with life and the people you love. And isn't that what truly matters in the end? Thank you for joining me today. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next one.